else you may end up in jail.
I kissed my wife goodbye before leaving for China. I even prayed with her before driving out of the compound. That's the part that destroys me most. While I was thanking God for a peaceful home, another man was already waiting for me to leave my own house. Our pastor, the same man that blessed our wedding and shook my hand every Sunday pretending to pray for my marriage. Meanwhile, he was sleeping with my wife anytime I traveled for business. The house they betrayed me in was built with my money. The bed they were sleeping on was bought by me. The woman I was suffering across countries to protect was secretly humiliating me behind my back. That morning, something inside me went cold forever. And the worst part? Catching them together was only the beginning of my suffering. Because after my wife packed out of my house without shame, my business started collapsing slowly. Trusted workers disappeared with my money. Customers stopped paying me. And the successful life I spent years building started falling apart one problem at a time. There were nights I sat alone in darkness asking myself, how do you rebuild your life after the people you trusted most destroy it together? But before the betrayal, before the divorce, before I nearly lost my mind, I truly believed I married the perfect woman. She wasn't loud. She wasn't flashy. That was what made everybody trust her. Calm, respectful, soft-spoken. Even my mother loved her deeply. Sometimes my mother would tell me, "My son, protect this woman well. Women like this are rare." And honestly, I believed it too, because before the money, before the success, before the travels to China, she stayed beside me during my struggling days. Back when my business was one tiny shop, with more debt than profit. Those days, she looked loyal. That's why the betrayal nearly destroyed my sanity. Because betrayal from someone you believed was pure feels different. Poisons old memories. When my business finally started growing, I carried her along with every success. I changed her phone, bought her expensive things, moved us into a better apartment. Then later, I built our dream house myself, brick by brick. Everything inside that house carried my sweat. I remember standing inside the empty building one evening, imagining our future children running through the rooms. Now that memory feels cursed, because the same house I built with dreams became the place where my marriage died. As business expanded, traveling became my normal life. China, Dubai, Turkey. I traveled constantly searching for better suppliers and cheaper goods. The stress was terrible. Some nights, I barely slept during trips. But I kept pushing because I wanted my family to enjoy life. And every time I returned home, my wife welcomed me like a woman deeply in love. That's why discovering the truth nearly destroyed my mind. Because a woman cheating peacefully while acting innocent at the same time, that level of deception is frightening. The pastor became very close to us after we moved into the new house. Everybody respected him. Calm voice, powerful sermons, always quoting scripture. The type of pastor people trusted too easily. Sometimes he visited our house unexpectedly and stayed for dinner. There were evenings we all sat together laughing, while he prayed for our marriage before leaving. Imagine that. A man praying for a marriage he was secretly sleeping inside. One particular evening still haunts me badly. We were sitting together after dinner when he suddenly looked at my wife and smiled. "You're blessed to have a husband like him," he said. And my wife smiled back quietly. That smile disturbs me till today, because only God knows what was already happening behind my back at that point. The week my life collapsed started beautifully. I was preparing for another China trip. Just 1 week. That was the plan. The night before the flight, my wife behaved sweeter than ever. Too sweet. Now I understand something dangerous about guilty people. Sometimes they overperform love before betrayal exposes them. She cooked my favorite meal herself, fed me with her hands, prayed for my journey while touching my chest softly. God should protect my husband, she said. Those words still haunt me till today. Because hours later, that same mouth was kissing another man in my bedroom. That night, we stayed together for hours as husband and wife. Passionate, close, connected, or at least, that's what I believed. If somebody had told me that same night my wife was cheating, I would have fought them physically. That was how deeply I trusted her. Before dawn, I quietly prepared for the airport. She was still sleeping peacefully, or pretending. I kissed her forehead before leaving. Imagine kissing betrayal goodbye. Halfway to the airport, I realized I forgot an important document at home. At first, I almost ignored it, but something inside me kept pushing. Go back. Till today, I believe God forced that car to turn around, because some truths hide, until destiny drags them into light. The moment I entered the compound, my spirit became uncomfortable immediately. The music inside the house was too loud for that early morning. At first, I smiled. I thought maybe she was cleaning. Then I entered the living room and saw a man's shoe. Not mine. My chest tightened instantly. I started walking slowly toward the bedroom. Then I heard it. A man's voice. Then my wife laughing. Then sounds no husband should ever hear from his own bedroom. My body froze completely. My brain refused to accept what my ears already understood. So I moved closer, and when I looked inside, my entire world shattered. My wife, my own wife, naked with another man on my bed. Like I didn't exist. No panic, no shame, no hesitation. The kind of comfort that only comes from repetition. And when I saw the man clearly, my soul nearly left my body. Our pastor. That morning, I discovered something painful about life. Sometimes the people praying for you are the same people destroying you quietly. I don't even remember reaching the kitchen. I only remember grabbing a knife. My hand was shaking violently, because in that moment, I wasn't thinking like a husband anymore. I was thinking like a betrayed man, and betrayed men are dangerous. The music was still playing loudly. They still didn't know I was home. I stood there, imagining blood everywhere. Then suddenly, something inside me whispered, "If you rush now, you may never know how deep this betrayal really goes." That sentence saved me from prison. So instead of entering the room immediately, I sat quietly in the living room waiting for them to finish destroying my marriage. Every second felt like somebody cutting my chest open slowly. Then, after almost 20 minutes, they finally walked out together, still smiling, still relaxed, still comfortable, like two people that had done this too many times before. Then they saw me sitting there staring at them. The pastor stepped backward immediately. My wife screamed loudly, like she was the victim. Nobody spoke for several seconds. Even the music suddenly felt disturbing. I looked at my wife and asked only one question. "How long?" She started crying immediately. I shouted this time, "How long?" Then she whispered, "Almost 3 years. 3 years. 3 whole years." While I was traveling across countries suffering for my family, another man was sleeping with my wife inside my own house. The pastor fell on his knees begging immediately. Begging. A grown man. A man of God. Crying like a child. But honestly, I could barely hear him anymore, because my wife said something that wounded me worse than the cheating itself. She looked at me and said, "At least he paid attention to me." That sentence nearly broke something inside my head. Everything I suffered for was for her. Every stressful trip, every sleepless night, every business risk. I was building a future for us. But while I was building, she was opening the door for another man.